The Dillon is one of the largest apartment buildings off campus and a popular choice among students. But some residents say there's a growing problem, one that stands to affect their health as well as their property. The pictures tell one story. The residents tell another.
Not even overnight, I started getting like the worst headache, like having allergies, and I was like, I feel like something's not right.
Zhang, Robbins, and Chiduri were living with black mold on their walls, floors, and ceiling. The confirmation came from an inspector the roommates hired themselves at the end of August after a prolonged battle with Dillon management to address this issue. Zhang and her roommates felt and still feel symptoms from the mold. They made their first official complaints to the Dillon in May, sending along tons of photos and videos. They say the Dillon put dehumidifiers in the apartment, but it was still there, under their carpets and in their closets. Maintenance workers from the Dillon then cut out part of the drywall, leaving insulation and piping exposed.
They never once said the word mold. They never once said the word remediation. And they were still kind of denying that it was even mold to begin with.
The renters say the Dillon conducted its own mold inspection in June and told them there was no trace of mold. But the Dillon never shared the lab results. This was before the residents paid for an independent inspector.
Personally, it feels like the biggest slap in the face. Like that maintenance didn't even care enough to tell us that, like, because it was affecting our health.
The women say the inspector strongly suggested they move out for the safety of their own health. One of the renters even worked in the Dillon's leasing office. She says they asked her and her roommates to sign a non-disclosure agreement.
They said, we need you to sign an NDA because we don't need an employee slandering the Dillon. And I said, well, it's not slander if it's true.
Robbins said she and her roommates refused to sign the NDA and was fired. The Dillon hasn't paid Robbins for several months of work since her termination.
They're breaking a ton of laws, and that's why we thought from the beginning, we were like, oh, well, they're going to have to do something, or they're at least going to want to do something, because what they're doing is so illegal.
For the sake of their health, the tenants broke their lease this month. The Dillon refunded their August and September rent, but refused to reimburse more than $7,500 worth of damage to personal items they had to throw away. They could only keep what was metal and plastic. That's not their only concern. Robbins, who lived in the apartment the longest, nearly a year, has a skin lesion, swollen lymph nodes, and a biopsy scheduled.
I feel like the reason that they're getting away with this is because we're college students and they think that college students don't have the ability or the voice or the money to actually fight for what is correct.
The roommates relocated to a new apartment complex, but they say they'll forever be worried about any place they call home. We reached out to the Dillon's corporate office, Campus Life and Style, early in the week for an on-camera interview. They consented only to a written statement and did not address my specific questions. That statement reads, leaks happen, and when they do, it's possible that conditions will be ripe for mold growth. Most mold we encounter every day is harmless, but it's our policy to take no chances. And when we become aware of mold growth, we act swiftly to ensure that it's professionally removed. We are investigating if this is an isolated issue or a wider issue at the Dillon.